A.J. Brown's injury, Julio Jones's injury has continued to placate that football team all year long. Derrick Henry being out. But seemingly, it feels like all three are as healthy as they've been maybe this year. Tell us a little bit about where they're at and what you expect from them this weekend.
Yeah, what's been crazy is last year you saw what that offense did, right? It was a machine, and they put up some really good numbers. They were really hot in the red zone. But this year, where you thought it might be the same or even better with the addition of Julio Jones and having A.J. Brown and having Derrick Henry, it was completely the opposite. And that's because it was just injury after injury after injury. And you really do have to give them a lot of credit for what they've been able to hold up this entire time. When losing Derrick Henry, going in and getting backs that fit your system, and Deontay Foreman's come in and fit right in, and he's put up pretty good numbers. They've been able to continue to really base everything off the run game. Ryan Tannehill's numbers aren't off the page, but he manages everything extremely well. And the biggest thing is his players respect him and look at him as a leader of that team. Now, with saying that, they got healthy at the right time. They're getting all their pieces back for the playoffs, and that means also you're enjoying a bye week that they had a little bit more rest.
Right.
Derrick Henry spoke today for the first time since pretty much before the injury. And you could just tell how hungry this guy is. I've covered a lot of athletes in my career, and this guy is something special. It's not just because he can go out there and put up numbers. It's something that he brings to this team, and all his teammates talk about it. It's just the presence on the field that he has. But also, he is that home run hitter, right? I mean, he can change a game. He can change the momentum of a game with one run. And so he's back. He's healthy. He has not been activated, obviously, yet, but we're expecting that to happen in the next couple of days. They wouldn't allow him to talk if that wasn't the case.
Right.
So he's definitely ready to go. He was in full pads yesterday, going, hitting other guys, and he looked great. And then A.J. Brown, also a guy that has dealt with some injuries this year, but is back, is healthy. And Julio Jones has been, I guess, the big question mark for this team. They expected more out of him, but when it comes down to him, if he can perform in the postseason, then it was worth getting that guy here. And right now he is healthy. That hamstring seems to be fine because he's not going to go out there and maybe put up a ton of yards or be the number one guy, but he's going to make some big plays when you need it to go downfield. And I think that having all those pieces going at the same time in a healthy offensive line, maybe they can start to get this offense going in the right direction.
You made reference to the 91 players that have suited up and played for this football team this year. I had a few concerns with the bye week, with guys coming back off injuries, Julio Jones and pieces being put into place, Derrick Henry having not played forever and all of a sudden being asked to carry the load for this football team, and if that could backfire on them. How do you feel about that? Players that haven't played that much and now are going to be expected to do a lot in a playoff game against a very capable and quality opponent in the Cincinnati Bengals. What's your thought process around that, or is that just something that's, that's the way it is here in Tennessee this year? We're going to play whoever can play is going to play, and we're going to play the best we can.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair question because whenever you have guys coming off of, IR or just guys that have been banged up all year, I think you don't know exactly what you're going to get, especially when you ramping it up to another level in the postseason. I mean, that's just different play. That's playoff football. What I will say about Derrick Henry specifically, because that's the guy we're all looking at, right? We all don't really know what to expect out of him. And he admitted today that this is the first major injury he's ever had to deal with in his career. And so you've got to be thinking, first and foremost, mentally, is he ready to go? And then physically, he seems fine, but I don't necessarily think they're going to just throw him out there. I could see them potentially getting him, 15 to 20 carries at some point of the game. I think they'll start to ramp it up if they need to, but you got those other backs you can rely on too. So it's not going to be all pressure on Derrick Henry, which is a good thing because in a way you just have to see how he reacts in game action. But Mike Vrabel is a guy who he's a dog. Like you look at his career. I mean, he competed his butt off. He grinded, and that's what he expects his players to do. and he's going to protect them, but he's also going to let them go out there if they feel good and do what they need to do. And a guy like Julio Jones, he's been kind of resting on and off throughout the season with that hamstring injury. I know that's a guy that they definitely monitor and, use in certain situations. I think he has a lot to say with some of the things, too. So I think he's going to be a full go, and nothing will be, held back in that regard. And same with A.J. Brown. This guy is somebody who just loves to compete. This is a team that's based off of their head coach's identity.
Right.
So they're going to put those guys out in the field. They're going to work them.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.